If you're watching this video, it's for a reason. If you chose to click on this particular title, this episode is for a reason. And that reason is most likely you're looking for work. You need a job. You're looking to change careers. Maybe you've been one of the thousands of people who've been caught up in the headlines lately of being downsized, fired, laid off. Maybe what you've been doing just isn't working. Maybe you've been looking for a long, long time and you need a different way of approaching it. Maybe you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're encountering ageism and rejection. You're tired of applying and getting nowhere, no interviews, and if you do, they don't go anywhere. If any of that rings true for you, you are in the right place, and my promise to you is, for the remainder of this video, watch it to the very end, we're going to give you something that you can actually use. Not theory, not what ifs, not it should, stuff that you can actually use. This is probably going to be one of the most unique, real, raw, relatable, no bullshit career videos you've ever seen, especially for how older people can get hired today. I know that is a huge promise, but this is important. There's a huge difference between the way things should be and the way the real world works. And that's what we're going to talk about today in this episode of the Advanced Adulting Podcast. My guest is Jeff Martin. Jeff is one of the top recruiters, headhunters, executive search guys in America. His firm, based out of Annapolis, Maryland, works with people in a variety of industries and places them all over the country. He's placed thousands of people. And he has some pretty high-profile clients like Gary Vaynerchuk and Ryan Serhant. But in this conversation, Jeff and I lay it all on the table of the do's, the don'ts, what really happens, what employers really think, how you need to show up to not appear old. I'll give you this one early. The best candidate doesn't always get the job. And we're going to talk about who does and how you can be that person. I'm going to cut this intro short because I know how much good stuff is on the other side. And I want you to get it and use it. I'm Bradley Richardson, and this is Advanced Adulting. Jeff Martin, welcome to Advanced Adulting.
What's going on, my man? What's cooking?
Man, just making it happen. Just making it happen here. This is good.
We kind of look like twins.
I know, right? Just a couple of, well, they can't see, just a couple of good-looking bald dudes.
That's it. I'm in.
Well, hey, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was, one, you're an interesting conversation. You do a lot of things with people in all aspects of their life, but you're a career recruiter, and you help people find work. That's it. And this audience of advanced adults, midlife and above, and that's a hard thing. Everybody, regardless of whether you're blue collar, executive, white collar, anything, tech, the industry doesn't matter. I mean, a lot of us are finding that how we found jobs and what it means to work doesn't mean the same things when we first started out. So what are you seeing out there?
Totally different world.
Yeah. How so? What are you seeing? What do you see?
I talk to a lot of people that are, I guess in the advanced adulting world, right? Who, so many of them, you go back in the day, you keep a job for 10, 15, 20 years. You never need to look, right? You knew where your next spot was, 10 years down the road, right? You're always being recruited, and then all of a sudden, bam, that goes away. Sort of COVID hits, the market falls out, and holy shit, I actually got to go figure out a job.
Right.
And, this is the group that grew up on, Career Builder and Monster, which are still alive, but they're gone. And some get it and some don't. That LinkedIn put it out an article, and I'm going at least 3 years back, that 20% of companies don't post jobs, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is, young or old, everything in between, everyone just goes to the job board and just submits and prays that they're going to get a call. Submit and pray, and then, oh, I see it's Jeff's job. Let me hit him up on LinkedIn. But you're missing out on 80% of the companies hiring. That doesn't mean those jobs are no good. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're only going after 20%. So the odds of you landing your dream job or your next is 20%. It's not high. And this goes for whatever age bracket you're in. You need to utilize, in my opinion, LinkedIn as the networking tool it's meant to be, and reach out and connect with people, right? Whether they're in your sphere or not. And your next job is going to be landed by networking.
Yeah.
By meeting someone that knows someone that knows someone that makes an intro. You don't know who's available. You don't know what job's open. And the reason people don't do it, it takes a lot of time because
Yeah.
you don't know, are you hiring, right? But I still got to make the intro. So I tell people, I want you to find the companies you like. I want you to find 3 or 4 people that work there that
Right.
you think control the gate to come in, and you're
Right.
going to find their email and you're going to message them. Simple as that. The reason people hate that takes a shitload of time.
It
But
does.
every time someone does it, within a month I get a call back and they're like, "You're not going to believe it. It led to me meeting this guy, who led to this guy, had coffee with his sister, just landed my job." Right? So it's no more submit your resume and let me just pray they call me.
What's so funny? I love all that. I agree with all that. For those of you, if you follow me for 2.5 seconds, I was a recruiter for over 15 years. So we speak the same language. And what's funny is you use that word gatekeeper, nailed it. I want to talk about that in a second. But my deal is, I think people are so reluctant, especially people our age, are so reluctant to reach out to somebody is because I think Gen X particularly, I think we're the last generation for all this bullshit of, oh, you're independent, you're a badass, you drink from a fire hose, nobody's going to tell us what to do. We're still the last generation of people who do what we were told, and we were led to believe, oh, well, you got to put your resume this certain way, you have to apply, and then you have to wait to be chosen. And my deal is this, if you're going to get rejected anyway, you're going to get turned down if you done something blindly via, LinkedIn, Indeed, an app, whatever. If you're going to get turned down, why don't you stack the deck and use all the tools available and try and reach out to somebody anyway? Because we are scared to reach out to someone because they're, oh, I don't want to look like an idiot. They're going to say no. What if I get rejected? It's going to happen anyway. So why not just put the numbers into it?
And I'm talking reach out to hundreds. That's it becomes homework, full-time job. If you're looking for a job and you think you're just going now listen, some people don't need it. They're already being recruited. They know where they're going, right? If you're in the mortgage world, right, it's a different game. But if you've been at the same company for a while and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, what's the landscape? It's changed to where you better, first of all, have a great LinkedIn profile. That's your website, right? But more than anything, you better not be scared to just reach out cold. Hey, here's who I am. Here's what I've done. What do you got? Can we talk? Right. And at some point, someone's going to respond. Oh, yeah.
It's totally numbers. I mean, it's two things that I'm coming up with. I want to talk timing and then kind of the what networking means, because I think it's such a bullshit, misunderstood term. But the timing of it, you're right. It's hundreds. And, too many people, they think it's, oh, well, I'm going to send it once and I didn't hear from anybody, or I sent an email or I reach out one time. I didn't hear from anybody. They suck. I suck. It's not going to happen. Dude, this is repetition, beating them over and over and over again, multiple messages.
Honestly, they don't give a shit. They don't have time. They didn't come in waiting for your email, right? No. So to your point, there is follow-up involved. And then there is, one of the things I go for is I tell, if somebody says, hey, I'm not the guy, I'm not the girl,
right?
That's the best thing you can get because they just responded. So,
Absolutely.
Okay, hey, Jeff, I'd hate to bother you. Who is? Let me reach out. Now I know who the person is. So guess what I do? I forward that with the bottom message and I say, hey, Susie, see below. Right. Jeff said you're the one I should talk to. Now it's almost like, shit, Jeff said, okay, I gotta respond. Right. So people will say, oh, okay. No, they just responded. Whether it's good or bad.
Absolutely.
Responded. Now go one deeper. Oh, shit, I'm sorry, Bradley. I didn't want to bother you. I know you're busy. Who should I talk to? Kelly. Beautiful. And then hey, Kelly, see below. Jeff said I should be talking to you. And then they're like, oh, shit, this must be a referral from Jeff. I got to take care of this person.
Absolutely. I mean, the referral thing, that's it. That's what networking is right there. Is if you can get a referral or some sort of warm lead, that's it. What I think, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. We go back to LinkedIn. It's on anything, but, there's such an air of desperation, of neediness on LinkedIn and anything else. And, the whole open to work bullshit thing, that people can smell job seekers. And I would tell people, look, I want you to think back when you were working You're trying to do your job. You're trying to, get stuff out, meet deadlines, whatever. And someone comes from out of the blue. Hey, I got a job. Hey, I need a job. I need a job. You're like, hey, dude, I don't have time to think about this. And instead, it's just more of, hey, I don't know where this is going to go. You may not need me right now, but let's at least establish something and get a conversation. What do you think about that?
I literally just took a call from a guy who I placed 4 years ago at Sirhan, believe it or not. Left, high level type guy, called me and said, hey, I'm putting my foot in the water. I want to just reach out. I'll send you my resume. Anyone you come across, anyone you know, just, throw them my way. Boom, done. Right? And the thing is, we will do that. Right? A lot of people say, oh, yeah, but that's my job, right? So if we have that conversation, it's funny. I train a lot of recruiters, and my tactic is when I'm on the phone, I'm a little bit different. I sell nothing. First thing I say is, dude, I don't have time to waste my time or yours. You're the pro. Here's the bullet points. Tell me if it works, and we'll take the next steps, yes or no, right? But here's the deal. If I'm on the phone with you, and we're already spending 20, 30 minutes, and let me find out what you want to do in case this role doesn't make sense, right? So what I tell the candidate looking is, you don't have to shove it down people's throat. You just say, hey, man, I know you're a busy guy. I'm out there looking. Do me a favor. If you know anyone, just drop my name and my number, right? If you start saying, this is just me, let me send you my resume, let's review it, then they're going to be like, forget it. But if it's like, yo, Jeff, I'm a finance guy, anyone you know looking, just, hook me up.
Yeah.
Probably at some point going to drop your name to somebody.
Absolutely. And the thing that people forget is it truly is what you can do for them. And I see so much fluff in this of I'm looking for a team-oriented environment where I can use my skills to build. I'm like, no one gives a shit. They don't, because it is a matter of, and the other thing I think is interesting is we're under this illusion that it's a meritocracy, meaning people that are going to see that, if I send my resume out somewhere or apply, that it may not be obvious now, but they're going to take the time and look at my job 3 jobs ago in the middle of my resume, then connect the dots. Not a chance.
To your first job, what's your title, on to the next. And that's why I tell people, typically the older people, that I say, hey, listen, your resume, your LinkedIn profiles is fluffy bullshit, right? When you were at XYZ, you put a title to make yourself look good. You're the director of humans, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? This is kind of like Google. You're unsearchable now. So I'm never going to find you. So the first thing I do is I say, hey, man, I don't want to be a dick. You got to come off your high horse.
Right.
No one wants to hire, and you know what I mean, but the senior director of national blah, 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 but you're applying to local manager roles.
Right.
So I'm never going to find you in the search because your thing doesn't say manager. And if I find you, I'm going to say, well, a director of national people, blah, 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 they're not going to want this job. So the first thing I say, look in the mirror and humble yourself. What was your real title? Manager, VP of sales. Then use it, right? Because the second you need to be searchable and you have some bullshit made up title, no one's ever going to, you're on page 10 of Google. So the second I tell someone that, and it's typically the older people who've been there for a while, so they don't care. They just want to look like to their friends that they run the shit. When their real title anywhere else would be sales manager. Well, then do yourself a favor. Change it to sales manager and see how many calls you get instantly.
Right. Yeah, and that's the one thing on paper and LinkedIn.
Anyone's watching, not to interrupt.
Right.
That is the biggest thing I can tell you. If you're like, no one's reaching out, go back, edit your LinkedIn profile. You have to remember the words we search as a recruiter come off your resume. It's your title.
Yep.
So if I'm looking for sales, but you use some fancy name, you're on page 10 of Google. I'm never getting to you. So you got to dummy it down. Come down.
100%. And, on the same lines, I mean, that's perfect for everything. But I mean, especially for your LinkedIn profile, for your resume, the way that I tell people on this is, we all think in labels, like it or not, everybody's labeling you. And so you want you to think of it in the very first pass, and whether this is where you describe yourself, I hate that word elevator pitch. This is so fucking 1990s, but it's what's your label? And what I mean by that is when you put there at the very top of your resume, top of anything, people only care about this. They care, what do you do? Who did you do it for? How well did you do it? And can you do it for me? And you can say that in 2 or 3 sentences. And an example would be, I want you to think about, I'll use a sports example and a dating example. Dating, it's like you want to set somebody up. It's like, okay, well, 5'8" brunette, from the South. Okay. I have a mental picture, a baseball pitcher. Okay. Well, he's a 6'2" left-handed middle reliever that, played in the SEC. Okay. I have an idea. And we all think of that. I know when I was recruiting, it was, okay, I want to know, because I did healthcare. Okay. You are a CFO. You were this type of hospital, this size of hospital. Here's the group it was with. I have a picture. Now I want to go deeper. I want to have a second date. I actually want to talk to you. But people think that we're going to spend all this time, looking and connecting the dots.
I'll get 500 resumes a week and I still go through them all. Mm-hmm. And I will take time to put some shit together. I'm just not, what I mean? Like, okay, there could be a story here, but right. If I'm looking for a director of marketing, right? And your first role right now is something totally different, I'm on to the next because that's what I'm looking for right now. As a recruiter, you have to understand it's not that I don't like you. I have to deliver the client that pays me what they're looking for.
Sure.
Right. So if you don't have the right title because you want to look cool, out there on this fantasy land of LinkedIn, right. Gary Vee sent it to me great. He said, everybody is an expert in their LinkedIn title, right?
Right.
The market is the only place we'll determine who the experts are.
Yep.
So you can say you're a coach. Everyone's an author. Everyone's a public speaker.
Right? Leader.
Yeah. The market will determine who gets paid by that.
Hey, it's Bradley. We'll get back to the conversation with Jeff in just a second. But if this topic is important to you and you want more, you want to go deeper, and you even want some personal tailored help for you one-on-one, I've got a couple of things for you. Number one, I have a 90-minute masterclass. It is a workshop that's based on my best-selling book, Career Comeback, and my over 15 years experience as one of the top headhunters in America and partner at one of the biggest search firms. Like this conversation, it is real, raw, no BS, and in-depth. That's great, but I want something one-on-one. I need you to coach me and guide me through this. You can work with me one-on-one in what I call a 90-day career campaign. And you have access to me through Zoom, through text, through email, where I help guide you personally in crafting your story, your message, researching the people that you need to get into and helping you get into them. You want more information on both of those things? Check out the link below. Now, let's get back to it.
Absolutely. Right. It's the same sort of shit, right? If you are a digital marketing manager, then that's what your title should be the second you need to look for a job.
Yeah. And we talk about this kind of inflated self-worth, and the way you position yourself out there is very much on LinkedIn. But at the same time, and this is going to sound like talking out both sides of my mouth on this, but at the same time, nobody's going to toot your horn like you can. Okay. Now you need to be accurate with it. But again, bearing that stuff and hope that they see it. No, if you have experience with a certain type of company, achieving certain types of results, you need to shout that from the rooftops, because nobody's going to sit there and look at that or find it.
That's where I get, don't go to the job boards, go there and send and pray, but then go find companies you like and then put together a quick non-diarrhea of the mouth message. Hey, here's who I am. Here's what I do. Here's what I think I bring. I think if we had a conversation, there should be some mutual benefit. If not, no hard feelings. Boom. I want to talk to that person all day.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. There's so much competition, but people are doing the same thing. I mean, I don't care whether you're recruiting for a digital marketing manager or a CFO, the job description is pretty much the same. I mean, like a CFO is a great example. Okay. You all close the books, you all do certain types of things. What's going to make you stand out? What are some things that you look for as someone who hires all these different roles? What's the difference between good to great? What are you looking for wow, that's an ass kicker I want to talk to?
Yeah, I mean, you want to know the real honest truth?
Yeah.
Off the bat, a good LinkedIn picture, right? I'm just being dead honest. And by the way, I might be the only one who has the balls to say it, right? And here's what
I love you, man.
I call it pride of ownership.
Right.
If you're applying to a job I have and you can't do a task right to put together a page that represents you, I don't want to talk to you. I have no desire. Zero. right? So the first thing I look for is, are you put together, right? Like how do you represent yourself and what is your page? Now I understand not everyone uses it. So if I'm recruiting you, it doesn't matter to me. But if
Right.
you're coming to me, which I
Yep.
get hundreds a day, no doubt,
Hmm.
right? Maybe
Hmm.
500-600 a week, then I care about pride of ownership. Did you put together, this is your website, this is your
Yeah.
landing page.
Right.
And if it's sloppy and shitty, then I just have too many other people to talk to. So you're
Right.
automatic, because I got to find some way to disqualify people. So right
Yeah.
off the bat, I'm like, doesn't care about his page. Next, she doesn't care about her page. Next, right? And then honestly, I'm a little different. I get on the phone with almost everyone that looks like they would qualify.
Right.
So that key factor is not going to happen until I'm on a call, right?
Right.
So I'm looking at your page. If you look like you qualify, I don't think there's anyone in the game, and I'm not tooting my horn, that takes more calls than me, and 90% go by the wayside. But
Hmm.
I just got a new fan. I just got someone who's going to refer
Yeah.
someone, because I'll spend an hour. Hey, you should tweak your LinkedIn. So anyway, to get to your question, it's the energy when I get on the phone.
Excellent.
Energy. So I remember when Ryan Serhant was starting this new company, and I would go up there twice a week. I'm in the DC area. I'd get on a train, go up. We would do 5-6 interviews. This is a guy that no one can get 10 minutes of his time, and we're
Right.
doing hours of interviews. And
Wow.
if you were to ask him, I have a video somewhere, it's the first thing I'm looking at is energy. If you're a
Love it.
turtle, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're in IT and you're not supposed to have energy. You're dead to me.
Right.
Because now it's not like the old days where it's like, oh, they check the box. Now they care about communicating. And hey, we
Hmm.
need you to grow and help us. It used to be just, all right, throw the IT guy in the closet, the programmer, and let him do it shit. Now
Right.
can you hang out with us, or do you buck
Right.
the system?
Right.
So for me, all things fair, I get 50 people on the phone. I'm an energy guy. Make me,
Love it.
I should not give two shits about this job more than you care. But
Right.
if I care more about it and I'm the one chasing you and pumping you up, I do it twice and then I hit
Hmm.
delete. And
Wow.
I have a button that I have a word that all my clients know me by. Next. Like I don't dwell
Yeah.
on it. I don't give a shit about it.
Right.
If you don't bring it, if you don't bring the passion, I don't care what role it is, from 21-year-old to 80. Next, I hit delete. Because I'm gonna
Yeah.
find that person that has it, because then I know they got what it takes.
I love that. And for those of you that are watching
By the
here,
way,
we'll
this
talk
is
about.
before I even get into your skills.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you put me to sleep, we're done. Next call.
I'm telling you, I mean, and you know what's so funny? So I know this, you know, there's several of my guests who are in the same field. Look, the best candidate doesn't always win. They don't. Just because, you know, unless you can have the cure for cancer and the secret formula to Coke, it doesn't matter. If you can't communicate it, you don't show up, you don't have that vibe and that energy, it's not going to work.
The
And for
other
those of
thing,
you, yeah, go ahead.
but the older crowd, right? Not the
Yeah.
fresh out of school. I had
Right.
a call yesterday, and I'm going to leave it at that. It was this lady who drove me so nuts. Just, I'm the expert calling you about the job, but she was the expert the whole conversation. And in my head, I'm thinking, no one wants to deal with you. Like, this is the problem. You have to convert to people want to hang out and deal with you. So
Right.
stop acting as, it's the same reason all these big clients I have, right? This is for those people out there that age discrimination shit, right?
Right.
I have these clients that no longer want to hire a mortgage banker with 15 years experience because they're sick of how you think you are the shit. I'd
Yep.
rather take the 22-year-old, 24-year-old athlete, male or female, put all my effort into teaching someone with no bad habits. So
Mhm.
one thing I tell people is, yo, come off your high horse. Yeah, I get you made $500,000 in 2021. Guess what?
Right.
Those days are gone. You made shit last year. So
Right.
let's come off the high horse. Stop telling everyone how you're the shit and you're the best, because you haven't done shit in 3 years. Let's be realistic. Instead, what we want to hear is, hey, listen, I had some good years, but this is what you get from me. If the company is successful, I'm smart enough to know that I just want to be a wet sponge and open book and reteach me, retool me. But when you tell me how you're going to bring all this shit to a company
Yeah.
that they don't want, I don't even put you forward, because I know they're going to be like, yo, you just wait. My job is to protect my client.
Right.
Right. So it usually comes with, if it comes with someone younger, you kind of laugh like, dude, you haven't done shit. You don't even have a job. Right. But if you're older and you just want to have diarrhea of the mouth, how you're the greatest 5 years ago,
Yeah.
you're dead. No one
Um,
wants to deal with that. Nobody.
and you hit it. For those of you out
Nobody.
there, the
You had
age,
a headache before you got there.
yeah. And it's nobody. That's the fear. There are a couple of fears, and I do a lot of work in this whole ageism and age discrimination thing for people our age. It is a real deal. But exactly what Jeff said there. I mean, you're going to be a pain in the ass because they're scared of you know more than me, which you very well might, but nobody wants to have that put in their face.
Nobody.
And when you present yourself like that, you're dead in the water. Hey, it's Bradley. We'll get back to the conversation with Jeff in just a second. But if this topic is important to you and you want more, you want to go deeper, and you even want some personal, tailored help for you one-on-one, I've got a couple of things for you. Number one, I have a 90-minute masterclass. It is a workshop that's based on my best-selling book, Career Comeback, and my over 15 years experience as one of the top headhunters in America and partner at one of the biggest search firms. Like this conversation, it is real, raw, no BS, and in-depth. That's great, but I want something one-on-one. I need you to coach me and guide me through this. You can work with me one-on-one in what I call a 90-day career campaign. And you have access to me through Zoom, through text, through email, where I help guide you personally in crafting your story, your message, researching the people that you need to get into and helping you get into them. You want more information on both of those things? Check out the link below. Now, let's get back to it.
Right? So the flip side is, listen, if you go in there humble and you say, hey, listen, I had some great years. It's been challenging, but I am one of those people that don't buck the system. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to start over. I don't need $1 million tomorrow, right? And they're going to be like, oh, shit, okay. But when it's the opposite of, in 2019, before COVID, I crushed it, no one cares.
Yeah.
Nobody. You're living in fantasy land. Like, I don't give a shit. I care about right now.
I want to talk more about energy for a second. I want to go back to that for a second because you're right. And you talk to people on the phone, which, good for you because not many people talk on the phone anymore. I mean, geez, it's all this bullshit. So one thing I hear from a lot of folks who are advanced adults is they're so concerned with how they show up energetically. And we just talked about that, but it's also the visual. And you said it about, looking good, looking professional, showing up, properly in your LinkedIn photo. But also, what are some ways that people can do that? Because I get should I dye my beard? Should I, show up differently? And they think it's a physical thing, but I want to talk about that. And then also, I'm a big fan of video. Nobody does video. I'm a big fan of Loom. And, because you can look, if you're going to nuke me because you don't like how I sound, you don't want to show up. And if you can see a 30-second video, I mean, I'll send them to you. If you see that instantly, my opinion is nothing shows it better. But what are your thoughts on videos and how you can actually present yourself?
Yeah, I like video. A lot of people don't do it. So realistically, you better be good on a phone call. Right. And if it is video, then you really better bring your energy. Right. And to your point, I don't care what you look like or your hair, how many wrinkles. What I care about is whether you're 20. And by the way, 21-year-olds are the same. Right. Like if I got to pull shit out of you. See, this is the problem with older people, not younger. Okay. Right. I'm just putting it out there because this is your audience.
Yeah.
When you treat a recruiter like shit, you're dead to us. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell everyone listening. We hold the key to more jobs than you know of. Companies come to us. They pay us a shitload to go find rock stars. When you think we're old school, annoying used car salespeople, you are dead to us and you'll never get in the company, right? Mm-hmm. It's the older people. I don't want to deal with a recruiter. Well, I'm the only one that can walk you in there, you dumbass. So they have to retool that, oh shit, things are different. These guys or girls are here to help us, right?
Absolutely.
You're a recruiter. I won't deal with you. And guess what I write? Bye. Like I don't need to deal with you. See ya.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I think people forget. This is one huge lesson that people need to know when dealing with a recruiter. And there's a difference, and it's a whole other thing of we're not here to educate you on in-house versus other recruiters like Jeff. But the in-house person, Brittany or Brandon, the 25-year-old, HR, admin or junior recruiter in a company, they have 0.0 stroke, none, Okay, so you apply to that company. They're not going to be able to go up against a VP and say, you know what, you really need to talk to Bradley here. Bradley, I mean, this is the guy. I know it doesn't look like it, but you really need to do that. They're not because they don't have the knowledge, or some do occasionally, but they are not going to go up and fight your battle for you. But an outside recruiter, someone like Jeff, is going to go, he or she has the ear of that senior executive, go,
100%.
no, let me tell you what you're missing. Let me help you walk you through this.
My first
And it's
call,
a totally different deal.
my call almost every morning is from a high senior level person asking how we looking on our people. And when they pay you, they look at me as a consultant to help them. So if I say, hey, Bradley, I got someone a little outside the box, but I love that she did X, Y, Z, I automatically get to put them on their calendar. 100%. 100%. But when you tell me, oh, I don't want to deal with, you're a recruiter, okay, bye. Keep looking.
So,
right? So the attitude needs to change that, hey, like, we're being paid to help you find a job.
Yeah.
Right?
And not to you. The company's paying. Yeah, the company's paying.
So don't be a dickhead and like go along. And most people are. I'm just saying, it's 1 out of 50 that have this 20 years ago, oh, you can't help me and you're shady. All right,
I'll do it myself. Okay.
Right, see you next.
Yeah, that's funny. The other thing that's interesting about the recruiting deal is you're right. So they think that they can do it all.
And I'll call out my own industry, and I can't help everyone. There's a shitload of good ones. I'm one of those guys. You'll never hear me talk shit. I'm pro recruiter. I train recruiters. I love them. But there's also a lot of shitty ones that do give people a bad taste. They don't call you back. They leave you hanging. There's nothing I can do. They're everywhere, right? Nothing I can do.
This is important too, though. I mean, just because people don't understand, it's like a doctor. You meet a doctor at a cocktail party. Oh, my foot hurts. Well, great. I'm a gynecologist. I can't help you. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with recruiters because they think, oh, well, that guy's an ass because he can't do anything. Most people are fairly specialized, whether it's an industry, whether it's a level of a job or whatever. So just because they can't help you doesn't make them a bad dude.
You don't know how many calls I get off of that. I'm like, dude, that guy was awesome. That lady was so cool. And I will go out of my way to email other companies or recruiters where I will see $0.
Right.
Because I like them and I'm trying to help. So, right. But if it's the opposite and you're an ass to me, then you just lost my connections and everyone around me.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So again, I don't want to beat it up, but when someone reaches out to you and you say, and I know you're looking for a job, and you say, no, thank you. My question is, no, thank you to what? What do you mean? You don't even know what the hell I got.
Right.
Like, to take the call, right? Yeah. Like, you're stupid not to. Like, if I'm going to take a 10-minute call, you should see what we got, because if the opportunity I have doesn't make sense, build a relationship with a high-level recruiter that will call you 6 months down the road because you had a good conversation. And by the way, all ages, I'm like, my message will say, yo, Bradley, I got an unbelievable opportunity. 150 first year, 300 year, I'll give you the breakdown. No thanks. But you're looking for a job. No thank you to what? You don't want to make a lot of money?
Yeah.
And it's just, again, it's they're recruiters. I don't want to talk to them.
Well, yeah. And it's like, there's so many parallels between relationships, dating, and recruiting. Yeah. But it's like this. I mean, if someone comes up and hits on you and you go, hey, thank you, I'm flattered, but I'm married. But my friend over here, I got a sister or a cousin or whatever.
Totally.
That same thing is the absolute best thing you could ever do for a recruiter to help you or your buddy. And so it's just gold.
And it's not everybody. It's here and there, but it's like, oh my gosh, like, we're trying to help you.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't get paid to have a 30-minute conversation that goes nowhere. So if I can get on a call and give you my time, But then again, when they say no, I just hit delete. All right, cool. I want someone that has the energy to be like, yeah, I'll find 10 minutes. Let's go.
Okay, so I got one more recruiting question. Then I want to talk a little more about getting indoors, but in how you've gotten in big doors. But for this type of audience here, and they're struggling. Ageism is real. A lot of it's how you show up. But man, people are spinning their wheels. Outside of the applying to LinkedIn, on LinkedIn and the other things, what's the one thing that you believe people should do but aren't doing right now that can help them move the needle?
Away from LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Oof, I live on LinkedIn.
Well, because I know some people are blue collar, some people are other things. I mean, not every industry's on there,
Yeah, I mean,
although they
yeah,
probably should be.
so take away LinkedIn, it's going to sound sort of the same, but I would literally, so you're saying someone looking for a job.
Yeah. In a totally, yeah. And I want to do this differently in a totally different field because I find that so much. Somebody's been in the mortgage industry and maybe, they can't buy anything there. They can't get a phone call return and they know they're going to have to make a pivot. What's the best thing for somebody who's like,
Yeah,
man, I
I
can't
tell
do what I did
somebody
forever.
every night on your way home, call somebody and
Mm-hmm.
pick their brain. No one's ever going to say no to you when you say, "Hey man, do you have 15 minutes on my ride home? I know you're a real estate agent. I'm thinking about the transition. Can I get a few minutes of your time?"
Yep.
First of all, they're going to give you the most honest answer because they don't give
Right.
a shit whether you come into their career or not, right? Then they're
Yeah.
going to then if that goes well, most of those people would say, "Hey, well, if you want to talk, I could put you in touch with Jeff," right? So
Mm-hmm.
I say pick someone out, a friend, a family member. Maybe you got to get them off LinkedIn or social. And
Right.
I get it all the time. I never turn them down. Hey, can I get 15 minutes to pick your brain about your industry? I'm about to make a transition. I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. And that person has no reason or desire to sugarcoat it or give you BS.
Right.
And
And you don't want
90% of the
anything.
time, you'll be like, oh, fuck that. I ain't doing that. Right? Because they'll give it to you
Right.
real.
Absolutely. That's great. And I
So
love it. You said
again, it
social.
goes back to networking, but leverage the people you know. And
Yeah.
maybe you haven't reached out in a while, or maybe you don't know them well, or maybe my good friend runs it. Can I get 15, not an hour? Can I get 15 minutes to pick your brain? And anyone that's a good person will say, of course.
Absolutely. You said social media, and I don't want to downplay that. Man, LinkedIn is critical. Man, so many people. However, what's the right way to get somebody? Whatever works, and if
Yeah.
that means hitting them up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever,
Sure.
and use it.
Because your friends, they're out there, right? So they don't feel weird or uncomfortable that, oh, shoot, I got to call one of my buddies that's going to think, I'm killing it. Now I got to be a little bit more vulnerable. You just call and say, listen, man, I'm kind of getting sick of what I'm doing. What do you
Right.
think about where you're at? You know,
Right.
I'm not
Wow.
trying to, I just want to pick your brain. You're the expert. Everyone wants to be the expert for 15
Absolutely.
minutes.
That's good. Awesome. Hey, so and for those of you here, we talked about at the very beginning in the intro here, but Jeff does a lot in different industries. He's one of the top recruiters out there. But another really cool thing about this is he's got a couple of pretty high profile clients in Gary Vaynerchuk, and Ryan Serhant. And what I love about that is those are not really your traditional types of clients. And I'd love to talk for a second about kind of, I believe heavily in trying to, you got to win by hitting singles, but sometimes you got to swing for the fences. And getting clients like that is great. Whether you're trying to get a client or whether you're trying to get in and get a job, let's talk a little bit about that, about kind of, how did you get them as clients? What led you to that? Because everybody wants it. Everybody wants to date the hot
Well,
girl or guy.
a little bit more. It's more relevant. I talked to him this morning, and he's
Yeah.
hiring like crazy. But the first thing is, you guys are gonna kill me. My LinkedIn page was so buttoned up that when they got to it, it was like, all right, this guy's the real deal, right? Now,
Uh-huh.
don't get me wrong, being able to put Gary and some of these other people make it even better, right? So let's go back
Sure.
to basics. I remember doing a cold outreach to Ryan, and I literally said it was 5 a.m, and I knew he's up early, and I just said, hey, listen, I'm going to be in New York. I would love to chat with you a little bit about what I do, and share it on LinkedIn. At this point, none of these guys were on LinkedIn, right? Anyway, long story short, he says, fine, get with Jordan, his assistant. I get in, and this is something I'll do that most people won't do, and this is something that Gary Vee had taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan was getting ready to go and switch over his company, and I literally said, what do I have to do? I know you don't have the money now. I got you. Don't worry about it. On my own dime, I travel to New York twice a week. By the way, let me just fast forward for those thinking, holy shit, the footage of us together got me more money than I would have ever made on placing him people. Right.
Right.
So, hey, Ryan, I'm going to come up. I'm going to film everything we do. I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to get 10 clients every time I come see you. But I'm going to build a relationship with you to where when he flipped his company and he started making a shitload of money, the
Right.
first one getting taken care of was the guy that did it for free. You'll never forget that, right? So I got in and
Absolutely.
I said, hey, man, I got you covered. You know nothing. I would sit through 10 interviews a day with this guy, not understanding at this point he wasn't as big, right? So he's seeing me do all this for free. Meanwhile, I wasn't getting paid, but the footage I was making was getting me paid. But it was the sheer, I don't need to get, let me prove myself. Here's the thing. Once you get one or you get two, now all I have to do is use them and say, look who I'm working with.
Absolutely.
You got to get the one.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and I got in with Gary Vee, which was great. It was the same way. His brother saw me online doing some crazy shit on LinkedIn that no one was doing. Yeah. And you know, hey, let's shoot the shit, right? And the other thing is when I go up, I'm just me. This is what you get 24/7.
Right.
So most of the time I leave, they're like, oh, that guy like didn't ask for a picture. He didn't try to kiss my ass. He came in. He knew more than we knew in the business. Let's use him. But I asked for the business. You got to ask for it.
I love how transparent you were. I mean, that's the thing is, you know, look, you had an agenda. You knew what you wanted. You wanted his business, but you also knew, hey, I'm going to use you in the best way, not a negative way, to be able to get other business, but you're going to benefit from this.
The most important thing, and I have all these videos of Ryan and Gary saying this shit, anyone's business is their people. So no matter how big you think somebody is, Elon, this or that, recruiting is the lifeblood that keeps the company going. So when they talk to somebody at my level, I'm not patting myself on the back. There's millions of them. You and all of you had, you know, paused around that. These are good people that can hold a conversation. It's funny when I go to an event and I'm like social anxiety. I hate this shit, which is crazy because I'm good at what I do. Every person there wants to corner me that's a business owner and talk recruiting. They could be a billionaire. It's the life of, so when you can bring it, they love you. Right?
Absolutely.
If you can stand in front of them and say, this is what's going on in the market. I'm seeing this, but this is what's happening. Here's how we do this. I don't care if it's the guy that runs Google or the little mom and pop. They're fascinated because they know they're that good that this guy does what we need. Even if it's just pick my brain for fun. I have more people in the business that are billionaires, literally, that own big companies. They don't want to use me. They got internal, but can we pick your brain? How, you know, tell me the real deal. What's going on? They love it. So if you bring a real value, hey, Ryan, I know you're about to explode. This is what I do for a living on a high level. I will give you whatever you need out of me if you give me X, Y, Z.
Yep. You know, it's a big LinkedIn word, but that word value, I think, is tossed out a lot, but completely misunderstood.
Yeah.
And I think you just explained it perfectly of what bringing value is.
Yeah, I don't need the money. I'll do something else. Give me footage. Give me, you know, content, right? Which worked more than any check. And then the checks came. Then all of a sudden, a year later, you're the loyal guy who now he'll do anything for me, right? And then I got paid.
That's awesome. You know, I love both those guys, Gary Vee and Ryan, and you know, just the ultimate type of energy, but also the ultimate salespeople. What, you know, just personally, what have you learned from each of those guys about just kind of running everything, about selling? What are your biggest lessons?
I was lucky enough to probably sit down with Gary 5 or 6 times in a year and a half. He is what you see. No fake bullshit. And that's what I love. There's no camera on. It is, that's how I am, right? Ryan is different. Ryan's the same way. Gary kind of goes with the flow and he gets shit done. Ryan, the most impressive thing I've ever seen is he runs his day by 15-minute increments, and he's never a minute late. Like bang, 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 right? So if you need him for 4 of those, great, we got it. Every interview on time, boom, but so consistent. And he'll tell you, take care of your work, and your work will take care of you, right? So this is a guy that literally grinds it out every day by 15-minute increments. And that was one of the most impressive things. We'd have a day, he'd be over here flying in. If I'm meeting you at 3:30, I'm in your face at 3:30, right? And just his work ethic, the way we, you know, it was a wild ride for the first couple of years as he was growing. And I was, for the first year, next to him twice a week, watching this guy just grind with a smile.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anyone so, and he talks about it all the time, his calendar, How
Yeah.
many minutes in a day do I have? I'm
Right.
maximizing all of them.
Well, and I love that too, because I mean, if you watch him on social media or TV or anything, I mean, look, it's a couple of things. One, he's also, and like a lot of it, I mean, he's managing the family and the small kids and everything. I mean, that's a big deal. What I admire, and I admire this about you as well, and hear from this, is that authenticity. And that is something I value so much. I have this such a love-hate disdain relationship with social media and all the fake, the things that are inauthentic about it. And it's good to hear, and I know it and put it into practice too, just like you do. Man, you just got to be you. They're gonna love you or hate you. It's just being you. Either way.
Those guys, what you see is what you get. But it's interesting because when you get a little bit older, and I get these people on the phone, not that I want to harp on it,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for these jobs that don't exist with titles that only their company gave them to sort of keep them. It's funny, a crazy story. I remember years ago, it was like 10 years ago, when mortgage was crazy. This was so genius. And Wells Fargo made all their processors become home advocates. Why? Because I was looking for processors. You were never going to come up against me. Now, when that person leaves or quits, they want to know why they can't get a job because no one knows what a home advocate is, right?
Right.
So I get these older people like our age that are made up bullshit, but they're unsearchable. So then I say, hey, dude, bring it down. I get that you're XYZ, but be a VP of sales for the day. And all of a sudden they call me back like, dude, I got 12 interviews. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, nobody wants to dumb it down, but you know what? We are playing to a lowest common denominator.
But what I do is I give it to them straight from a recruiting standpoint. So I say, hey, man, let me break it down. When I send you a message, and this is the real truth, it costs me $5 fucking bucks. $5. I either get that money back or I lose it. I get that back when someone responds. So I'm only going to go after people I know are in what I'm looking for. So I'm not going to, if I'm looking for a sales manager, I am not going to message director of world sales.
Right.
So you're never going to hear from me, right? Because you want some fancy bullshit title that at any other job in the world, you're just a sales manager. So they don't get seen.
We didn't talk about this. I mean, about people who, one of the big things for people our age that I hear is, and we both sat in the rooms. Okay. You've got somebody who used to be a VP. They don't want to do it anymore. They're okay with that director role, that manager role. But meanwhile, someone's going, well, why would they want to do that if they're going to be too much? What do you tell somebody to make their case? How do they make their case to actually get somebody to believe?
That happens all the time.
Right.
And you got to be genuine. You can't just come like they're going to know you're full of shit just trying to get a job, right? And you just say, hey, listen, man, I've been there, done it. I love it. And if there's an opportunity to get there with you guys, great, right? But if you're telling me you're growing, your people are passionate, you got good shit, I don't mind taking a step back. Sometimes it's not even an income step back. It's just a title, right? And that drives me nuts when people are like, oh, well, I need this title. I'm like, dude, the comp is 10 grand more, right?
Yeah.
So I tell people just bring it real. Say, hey, listen, don't be scared. I'm humble enough to say I'm going to work my ass off. And if there's an opportunity down the road, great. But if you're telling me I can make $150,000, whatever it is, and I was making $160 there, then I don't really care about the title. And people love hearing that, but they get scared, right? That you're just saying it to get in the door.
They're going to leave.
You just got to come across genuine, like, this guy's just going to get in the door, and while he's here, he's going to be looking. And that's what
everybody's doing it. Everybody's looking anyway. That's the thing people don't understand. Even the 22-year-old, they're still looking.
But they think, oh, he's just trying to get a quick paycheck. So you got to just be real with them. Say, don't let my shit scare you. Sometimes I say, take it off there, right? And just dummy it down. And all of a sudden they get calls.
Wow.
And if they were a VP, just be a manager.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, watch what happens. As long as you're okay with the income. If you're not, then that's a problem.
Right.
But it's tricky.
I know your time's valuable. I got 2 more questions for you and let you bounce. But number one, what excites you most right now? It can be in anything, in any aspect of your life. What are you most excited about right now?
Top the surface of what we're about to do in the recruiting space. And a lot of it was me not scared, just COVID hit and this. And I'm done blaming fucking COVID. Like, I'm so over that. Right. But I'm about to do, and I've talked to you offline about this. I'm about to do something in recruiting that's not being done. And this is through years and years of me seeing this, where we're going to be there for our client, but we're going to let the applicant drive the ship, right? With more touches, with live interaction, with AI shit, recruiter on demand, to where every Thursday we're going to have a call that anyone who's watching this is a little tricky. They don't know how. I'm going to have a recruiter on. Anyone join, totally free, right? We rewrite your resume for free, because what I want to do is bring in the masses of people. So I'm excited about growth that
Very
has
cool.
to do with the job seeker who, it's scary looking for a job. It sucks.
Yeah.
And when you just submit your resume, no one gets back to you, it's a shitty feel.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited. We'll double our company. We kind of already have this year, but by the spring. And then I just want to go into, I want to do what Ryan Serhant did for real estate and recruiting. Sexy, fun, moving, fast. Let's roll.
Love it. And you are so the guy to do that.
Excited.
We'll put everything in the show notes here of how people can reach you as you're putting this out there. It's great. My last question is this. So, and this is for the advanced adults out there. It's the typical thing. You get a time machine and you get to go back 20, 30 years to your younger self when you're first starting out, and you get a couple of minutes to advise yourself, your younger self, about what it's like to navigate this stage of life. What would you say?
Man, it literally is going to sound so wimpy, but I treat everybody the same. And my kids see it. They're like, Dad, how is everyone your brother, from the garbage man to this, right? So I would tell myself, do not change the one thing you've been doing, is you treat everybody with respect. Everybody. I don't give a shit who they are, job seek, I don't care. And by the way, that's vice versa. I don't care if you're the king of the world, right? You're just going to get my respect the same as the teller at Walmart, right? And I push that in my kids, and I would tell myself, don't fuck that up, because that kept me so genuine that it's hard to find someone that doesn't like me because I was an ass to them.